But we're just going to consider this, this thing right here. And one thing I haven't mentioned now is that, of course, sentences are ordered, and so we want to have some knowledge about what order, which word came first. And so what they do in the literature is they just add a positional encoding. They say, no, this is number 1, or number 0, this one's number 1, this one's number 2, this one's number 3, and so on. They just say where you are in this sequence. And that's at least as much as I want to tell you about transformers. And so now I'm going to try to show you there's some relationship between the model we've got and transformers, and it might not be totally clear because we've got this path integrating recurrent network, and then we've just got this Hopfield network. But it is the case, however, and I apologize for maths, but I thought this was maybe the best way of doing it. It is the case that if you try to translate, boil this whole model down into its nuts and bolts, its sort of core elements, you can discover that the predictions that it makes follow this equation. And that makes sense, right? Because I'll try to explain it. Because if I want to make a prediction, my query is my next belief of where I think I'll be. Oops, sorry. That's my query here, this G, that corresponds to that Q. And then I'm going to look back in time at all the other locations that I've been to in the past. That's, they're going to be in this matrix G. And then I'm going to compute how similar my query is to previous locations I've been. And then I'm going to make my prediction based on how similar is my believed location to locations in the past. And and I'll just retrieve the thing, the observation that was bound to that. Okay, so we can see there's some sort of thing in spirit between these two equations. In fact, this is just this equation minus this softmax, and where the query is my belief of where I am, and my values are the observation. And so we can make some analogies now. And it turns out these Hopfield networks really are just the same thing as the self-attention. I should say I haven't got the citation here, but that is also that was definitely not me that did that. That was known that was shown at roughly the same time, so we know this Hopfield network, this memory thing, is really performing the self-attention, and what corresponds to the position encodings is this belief of where I am. This belief of where I am is a position, right? In our case, it was space, where I am in space, but in this case, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so it's really the case that this position encoding is like the grammar. It's like grammar of where I am in this sort of this sentence, where I am in this argument. That would correspond to this. So perhaps make some statements about the position encodings that given in transformers maybe are not the best ones. But of course we've missed one thing out. To make this transformer really into a model analogous to our model, we'd actually need to add these recurrence between these position encodings. So we need to have these recurrence between the position encodings, like we've got the recurrence up here. Okay, and so we can sort of play with that a little bit, and we can think, right, well maybe we can actually just replace our hippocampal model over here with a transformer that just has these recurrent positional encodings. Okay, and so we're just going to do that and see what happens. The first thing to note is that including this softmax term massively improves learning. Okay, so here's the case of our the situation we had before, and it sort of slowly learns, and it will continue on getting better and better and better, but it just takes a long time. But the situation where we have this softmax, it just learns super, super fast. And that makes sense, again, because as soon as you turn things into a probability distribution, it becomes an awful lot easier to attend to things in the past. Whereas in this case, we'd have to also learn some nice normalizations and make things all orthogonal. But the softmax sort of alleviates that problem. The second thing to notice is now we've got this transformer, just these recurrent position encodings. It also, and we train it on the same task as before, it also learns spatial representations.